Fourth grade students from Nancy Hanks, Ferdinand, took
just interested in getting a little patch clear to build their buildings and to have food for themselves and then the animals that they were going to work.
no field, though. The inventions in the hand
Corn planters. This was one of the earlier corn planters.
in his demonstration of the progress of hand power to steam power on
Okay, and I'll show you up in the air first of all because all of you can't see it. Whenever you'd put this down in the ground, like right now, you put it in there, but most of you can't see it, so I'll hold it up in the air, and then whenever you did this way, then corn kernels. Things become a little bit more modern whenever they got this here. This is a corn planter also, but you didn't need two hands no more. Whenever you'd put this down and you'd go like that, that would let there's 3 kernels of corn laying down there. Now them kernels are in there. Both things, you'd put all the same principle again. If you do this here way, why there's supposed to be corn coming out of one side and a little fertilizer on the other side. See, little fertilizer on one side and corn on the other. Here, and again I'll hold it up in the air. You press it sideways, not it's in the ground, you know, it makes a spear and opens up the ground. And as you press this way, the potato would be in there.
also got a look corn grinder. The French discovery of the metallic disc had long replaced the milling stones, and the power running these area farm antique grinders came by means of hand and The field venture also offered an opportunity to touch some of the power sources or to ask questions of the field helper.
They work too for a living. They work just the same. Everybody has to earn his keep, even the old stallion. Well, how fast can they run? They're not a fast horse, they're a workhorse, right?
Miles an hour probably be enough. That wouldn't be for any great distance.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not a race.
Don't want them to run very much.
They're not a race horse, these are workhorses. Come left, come left.
Go.
Let's show these people how to run this machine. Come left, come on. Come on.
Despite the cost
now. Old Lap, he used to run this, for years he's run this here, but he'd just keep running it. But like I said, he's 13 years old, and for a big dog, you know, they age faster than a little dog. And
To help students get perspective on the progress of farming, farmer Francis Lindar and his son Mike placed a more modern among the antiques. Farming has certainly made its way from the Babylonian plows of centuries past.
Most we had then. That's when I was young. We had two.
German inventor Locatelli would have been amazed to see this modern-day seed dropper.
You know, but like I said, the principle of planting, putting the seed in the ground is
fertilizer in through with a pump through the hose into the tanks, and you dump the corn into a larger box, and it places the seed with depth controls right here, and it firms the seed into the ground and presses it tight.
yeah,
In a good day you can get 30 with a 4-row corn planter, which is the smallest they make. What, 30 some acres in a day?
Yeah, you could plant 30 acres and do it, yeah. Yeah, like you said, that's the smallest corn planter they make now.
The early farm tractors began as little more used a single drive wheel, others used 2, 3, or 4 drivers, and some used tracks. Every conceivable design appeared, some good, some bad. A designer's success was simply a matter of if it sold and if it stuck.
Okay, and then this here, everybody burned firewood.
Designs included 1- and 2-cylinder farm engines, and some days it took the hands of an expert to carry divided area elementary students to get a glimpse of farm history through his collection. On this particular visit, we were interested in 2 pieces of farm equipment.
New build, we're going to try to start him. Don't want to start on its own.
In addition to Francis's collection,
This here's a Frick steam engine here. '95 or something like that. Nobody had an engine that would run by themselves. They had to be either stationary in a factory or you had to pull them with horses. And this here is a 1880 model here, so it's one of the older ones, and nobody had no traction then yet. So this here company, they went on to building lots of traction engines after that too. Horsepower Frick, we just put new flues in. We can't run it. We're putting new rings in, which they should be here today or tomorrow. And and for an old engine like that, we think we're going to have it in good shape.
Frick grain threshers were built already in the 1840s and were continually improved. Steam traction engines were sold in large numbers in the were introduced in 1882.
You can read back to where they were building some steam engines in the 60s, 1860 already. You know, the first ones were more so stationary ones. What they had in factories like, well, the Ferdinand Foundry and Machine Works, you know, they operated everything with a steam engine. They had one big boiler down in the basement, and they had their pond there down in the basement. You couldn't see it, and to furnish the water there. And then they run line shafts, run the lathe and everything with that line shaft, but it was actually a stationary steam engine. Had to be before the other ones to start getting all the tools together, you know. So I've read back to 1860 where
Columbus, Ohio. This marks Frick's entry into the tractor business. The company apparently began work on their own tractor about this time. For about 10 years, from 1918 to 1928, the 1225 and the Frick tractors had a rather odd appearance due to their very large front wheels. We'll look at some others. For WJTS 27 minutes.
Get up here at the scale and get weighed in. You don't have have to wait till we call your class. You can come up here and get signed up before everything starts. It'll be a whole lot simpler that way.
It's the
That's enough for you, John. You really go right to that. 37 I need to have. 37 You're looking. 3750 antique class. You need to sign up now. 12,000 form class. You need to sign up now. 12,000 form. 3750 antique class. We need you to sign up now.
And a 76 to 100 pound weight class that we just give half the pot, half of what we take in.
you may
Come up because we're going to get started in a little bit.
You might find some big trucks pulling some weight, and the big tractors are divided into how many weight classes this You'll hear encouraging words to cheer farm hands toward their goal. But there's more than weight pulling going on here at the Celestine Community Tractor.
Our normal turtle soup, and we got hamburgers and fried chicken and barbecue chicken. Grab a spoon and start eating.
And there's a lot of people pulling together at the tractor pool.
Between the Celestine Community Club, Celestine Fire Department, and others like that.
And they're pulling together for a good reason.
That the money's going to be raised and go to some community effort. Do you have any idea what it is this year?
We're not for sure right now, but I know it's going to go to the fire department to get better equipment, get new SCBAs and different things like that.
That was good. You done good.
Come on, Dave! Come on, Dave!
Community friends had pulled a rather long night.
I thought you said one more.
Thank you, sir. You're all right. I don't care what your dad says about you, son.
That's not fair. What time did you guys get here?
About 12:30 this morning.
12:30 a.m.? 1 o'clock you had a big fire going out here?
Well, 7
About
kettles.
1:30, 2 o'clock.
Have you scrubbed all the kettles and stuff and set them in the stands and set the burners underneath of them and got them all going and stuff, and then get water in, pour your vegetables in? Todd, what's
So you had a campfire.
Large one.
Large one. A lot of heat. I thought it was like 105 degrees out here already.
And do you know how many gallons you've made?
A little over 500.
And that's not enough, right?
No, they'll sell off.
Come on, guys! Come on, Dave!
I tried one time. It normally gets over by 10, and we're out here till midnight yet.
Clean up. You come back on Mondays.
Come back on Mondays and do it again. Let's keep cleaning up.
Good job, bud. You're good, Jake. Jaden had a pull of foot 54 feet 11 inches. Max Hosner.
On the quickest in the bend. To pull it out. Well, to pull it out, it don't matter if it's quick or not. Just to
Yes, the object of the tractor pull is to carry your weight to the end of the line.
It's fun.
Why?
It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of people that
This goes to Max Hosner. Good job, Max. Second place goes to Curtis Graff. Congratulations, Curtis. Good job. And third place goes to Brian Werner. Brian, where are you? There she comes. Oh, she had to go. Yeah. Did you win? Good job.
All in all, whether it's the short pull or a long pull, they're all winners for contributing to a community cause.
To our next weight class, the 41 to 50 pound.
For WJTS, 27 minutes, this is Tony Frick.
It's a summer sled race of a different kind. It's a test of skill and muscle, personal or motor muscle, that is. The object is to be the one to make your tractor pull a sled of weights the longest distance. It doesn't matter if you're young and using pedal power or an adult and using your tractor's engine power. It's also an annual fundraiser for the Celestine Volunteer Fire Department. The object? Raise money to go towards department maintenance, updating equipment, and purchase of new gear. Volunteers of all ages come out to help and get into the action, including fire department personnel and their families, Celestine Community Club members, JC members, and other community helpers. This year, we heard them say that they made and were selling some 500 gallon of mock turtle soup and some 400 chicken dinner plates. And you best get in line early.
Caleb had a
The Celestine Volunteer Fire Department tractor pool features a kiddie tractor pool with 4 classes: 30 to 40 pounds, 41 to 50 pounds, 51 to 60 pounds, and 61 to 75 pounds.
Max, down here! Come on, Max!
We caught the first class pull-off and some of its winners in action.
Come on, Abby!
Now go hard! Lock it in. Go hard! Come on, Abby! Go hard! Go hard! Go hard! Go hard!
Last call for 4,500. For those of you who haven't signed up for 4,500, last call for 4,500.
Adult tractor pools called for heavier loads, with 3 classes in the Antique Farm Tractor Division and 3 classes in the Pure Farm Division.
That's good to pull a little out of the calibers right there. John's got that hand out. He's going to keep us from turning over. That's what he's doing. He's watching. John knows what he's doing on that O'Reilly. Got him right there. Good job, Johnny. Good job.
2 tracks are going at the same time, 1 lane for the Antique Tractor Pool.
Dick Swank out of Ireland on a 40-20 John Deere. The next gentleman up.
And 1 for the Pure Farm Tractor Pool. Tractors weigh in from 3,750 pounds, 4,500 pounds, and 5,500 pounds for the Antique Tractors, and 12,000, 14,000, and 16,000 pounds for the Pure Farm Tractors. There's also a farm stock weigh-in at 8,000 and 14,000 pounds, plus below the hill, garden tractors are pulling and special features such as the Indiana Super Farm pull-offs. For the Indiana Super Farm pull-offs, why they're the Hot Farm at 10,000 pounds and the Super Farm at 9,300 pounds.
Blake had a pull of 49 feet 11 inches. We are talking within an inch.
Even a street stock truck.
Trey pole. Where are you, Trey? Come get your trophy, Trey.
Yes, we discovered that there is a lot of pulling going on at the Celestine Volunteer Department tractor pull.
Second place goes to Abby Pierce.
And that includes the pulling together to raise funds for those fire department community needs.
And Blake Knies is our winner. Good job, Blake.
For 27 minutes, this is Tony Frick.
41 to 50 pound weight class. Ethan Kiefner will be.
like it. That would be a lot.
I mean, you don't know specialist teacher or nothing.
The guy with the white strap and suspender.
You know, in my young days. But you'd drop your potato in here, you know, and you'd go like that there, and it'd be down in there. And it's kind of slick the way it does it. Whenever you push it up, whenever you push down and go like that, you know, I didn't get down for it. Anyhow, that's a potato plant. So we'll go to corn shellers here. This is another corn sheller, which is later on. A lot of people had these here corn shellers too, but I guess we were kind of the poor ones because I know our neighbor had one, and I'd go over there and crank it, but we never had it. So, but it yeah. Ferdinand, and as good as I know, I don't know if anybody else has any yet, you know. Ferdinand wagon, it's got it on the other side too, you know. And I knew it for years. It was at Holland, you know, and a friend of mine, they used to come here and look at our stuff, and then he passed away, and then his wife called up and said that she knows Harold, if he could tell me that he would rather see that somebody from Ferdinand or me has this wagon, so we got this here wagon, you know, so it's kind of a little special to us.
Is that a Hollandon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fred Holland's dad, Henry and John. Yeah, they built it, Henry and John, yeah. And their place, that's where they had a blacksmith shop. Okay, well this is a little more modern.
How about Hughes? Hughes, or however.
Hughes, E-W-E-S. I used to have about 200 of them. And I used to shear them. We used the Australian method of shearing. We backed the old ewe up on its haunches, and you had a certain way that you sheared them. I said it took a strong back and a weak mind to do that.
Well, these are sheep and goats here. I'm sure you know that, but they're the grandkids, and whenever we have the school kids here, you know, we can't get them hardly away. Hardest place to get them away from. Oh, they should be, but
Go corn shredder.
You don't have to. Yeah, I guess not. They should too. It has it right on there, you know. By Common Sense Feed Cutter. Common Sense Feed Cutter. That's the name of it.
For feeding.
Yeah, to
feeding the livestock.
Yeah. Okay, well we can make a show that tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, after this here then we'll stop eating. We want all of you to help us eat fish up there that we got in Canada. We'll finish, Nessie, we'll finish down here first. Yeah, we'll finish here and then we'll come up there. We're not going to drive this. Well, unless we want to go back here, Dave. The other, no other company has that. It's you know, it's kind of like a with all the things added to it, you know. He's got a blower on too. Yeah, the draft is. Yeah, if he turns that there on, it'll really.
You got a Southern Railroad come under with you.
Yeah, but then otherwise it's got
$5 bills, anything.
I bet if I gave you one, it wouldn't get in there. You might throw it like that.
Let's try it.
Yeah. It's got a train whistle on, if you're familiar with how the trains used to sound. Whistle.
Well, Henry said they got a caulking gel that go around there.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it's probably a lot more.
I guess about the last
It is a train, you know, it is a train. It comes off of a train.
Yeah.
It's got a train generator we put on. So it's got lights on the front there. That was a kerosene lantern that came with it. But then we done that with electric now too. That steam generator. You know, just it comes off of a train. It'll
get a shot of the nose.
It's
a nice cookery they got.
Yeah. That's where Max came from, I guess, with that bulldog, huh?
Well, that's their logo. That's on. Later on, they made tractors, you know, kerosene tractors, gas tractors, and that's their logo. Yeah, I'd like to ask what's the voltage on that generator. No, I guess it's 21.
They're just done for smaller scale.
Try to snow somebody like me.
He's getting old, and this is beginning to be kind of rough on him. We'll have to make one run here. Huh? One run. Now we're going. Of course, almost every farmer had this. You had to have it because you had a lot of things to sharpen, and you had water up in the top so that your metal stays cooler and the stone does a better job.
Where do you get the stone?
Well, I don't know where we got this one, but
Gilbert father-in-law.
Oh well, but I mean, who made it? Oh, my grandpa overturning them down, you know, and all.
You got old sandstone?
Well, I guess it is. I don't know no history on this one particular here.
Got a lot of sickles to sharpen.
Yeah, had a lot of things to sharpen.
What did they cut them out with?
Well, I'll tell you how they did it over there. They had, to begin with, they had a forge there. Because when they mounted these in the middle on a shaft, and they had a kitten steam engine on the side pulling it, and then they'd hold like a bar. You see these grooves on here?
Yeah.
They were done the same way. You had, whenever that wheel turned, and it was still in a block then, you know, in a square block. And they'd hold this on there, first of all on the outside, and then there was 4 corners there. And I was told, you know, you had to kind of watch whenever they got thin, because they'd fly off there. You know, and then you had it round. And then to get, they look all, we've got 2 of them up here on well tops, you know, that are square yet. And then they go on both sides, and you had a place here to put your bar on, your crowbar, and you would run this in, you know, and run it in, just like a lathe.
Yeah, mill it down.
Just like a lathe.
One guy'd stay busy on the forge all day long sharpening.
Yeah, that's what.
The rocks for the circuit if they down below the hill, down
We can't run it now, and it was going to be there is a steel on there, and I guess it's our old steel. But it was one that's not, you know, it'd have to be an awful little scale. I know my dad, you know, he made 10 gallons of whiskey every 5 years about, and never sold a drop that I know of. But that's the way it was, and last night we had it running here, and I wish we could today. We had steam coming out of there and everything, and otherwise we can't run anything on here now because we got a flue leaking in here. So yeah. Yeah, for thrashing and butchering.
Yeah, butchering and everything, that's where we used to that.
The muscle around here. Yeah. Well, that was my first little kid. Yeah. Carried a water bucket and somebody else had to go. Sure. Whenever we track that, it's like around here, you wouldn't go in the field and stop the bottom. And I never knew anybody had too much to drink in the summer. Right. Now, butchering is something a little different. Right, yeah. It's a little different. It was cold. The days were getting short. Yeah. But flashing, I never saw anybody have too much to do. I agree. Yeah. So, we were going to run this here thing for you, and we thought you'd get a big kick out of it. We got it made that it's you know, coming out of them flue, that copper line there, you know, got the skillet over there. It worked last night, and I don't know, I wasn't here this morning when they said it.
Don't you remember when we were down there? I said, "Boy, there's a lot of steam coming out up there," and the Avery wasn't popping off.
Was that this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where's your samples from yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the last was August the 25th to 65.
Now,
yeah,
these
so
all
we
run by steam?
Yeah, they're all steam engines. This is a compound engine. This here, the exhaust keeps running the neck, you know. It's not like the piston type, like the steam engine, and so, of course, like on the ships and power plants and things like that, they reuse their steam maybe 10 times, you know. Like this little one's got the same amount of power as this one, because it's got less coming all the time.
So it hits, the steam hits it first, then the little one,
Yeah.
and then the others. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we could run this, and that's an overtime air compressor that engine runs back there, and I'm really not done with it. We just hang stuff on that don't mean nothing, you know, like it'll just be something going around.
It's an old governor, is it?
Yeah, yeah. This is a governor of a steam engine too. And like I told you a while ago when you asked what, they had different styles, you know. Like, whenever things are going good, it's easier to explain on this one. Whenever things are going good, you know, and you don't need no more power, why these here things are all together out. And as soon as it slows down, and then these here balls go together, and that pulls that middle rod up, and that opens up a valve down there, just like a valve on a car. And it overrides whenever you turn your...
Here's about the most unique one.
Yeah, that in there is a governor in a flywheel.
Not many like this.
Yeah, whenever it's kind of the same principle. When it runs normally.
Tony, you'd have to come on this side.
Oh, yeah.
Governor and flywheel.
Yeah, it's the only one that we have, I think, that's like that there. Whenever you'd be pulling something on here, you know, this would be out. You see it running, it's changing the opening on your, to do it like that there. Yeah. But whenever this is running to it, why this ball would be down on that spring. And whenever it slows down, it'll come up like that there, and it's opening that there. And here the steam comes in, and it'll let more in. The principle is the same, but we probably got, I would say we got 25 steam engines like this, different kinds, and this is the only one with a flywheel governor. And there's two little bitty ones in here. Can you get that belt over there? Turn it off? Yeah. I don't know how much air we got up there. That's pretty good here, but yeah. This here's a pretty big engine here, it's a 2-cylinder engine. I would say close to it. I'm going to put all these exhausts outside. They have no need to go in there and crash around there. I seen an engine like that there in Iowa that had come out of the power plant, and I'd say that their wheel was 15 feet high, and half of it was in the concrete. They made that size. Well, they made all of them big, for power plants. But it's a smooth running engine. That one there, well, I don't really know how old any of these engines are, but I would say around now. Some are older, like that there's 1875. That engine there, but they were making steam engine, but it's just curved. I read stories on the trains already. If it wouldn't be for, the distance was limited, then they needed water and coal. And fire danger was bad, they had to start fire. It still is the main power.
They didn't bring the steam to locomotive into the mountains.
Yeah. I heard that already. But otherwise, even a little permanent one over here, you got wood farm. That comes from the south. Straight up, yeah.
Well, your diesel start fires too. They still throw out some source.
I guess, well, and the brakes could, but I think those things maybe are better, but well, glad you mentioned the air, Paul. Glad you mentioned the air. I thought we'll get fire, huh?
Now I want to see you working.
A lot of people want to see that.
Oh, a Victor we got. Yeah, a Mercer Clover Harvester. Yeah, we got a Victor. Yeah, and I don't know if we've got a separator up there. Separator up there right side.
You still looking for $5 bill?
Yeah.
Forests are left in some of the states in America, in Washington State, way on the west coast, and a little tiny country called India. They had rainforests too, and that's where this story is from. Some of the things that the puppets are made of, you might recognize. This is leaves that someone put inside of a log. Nobody hurt anything to make this musical instrument. So we took it, and we're going to... And on the side of that mountain, trees, beautiful trees like you have right here in Jasper, Indiana. Gorgeous trees filled with beautiful leaves, trees that made you want to sit down and read a book underneath. Trees that kept you cool on a hot summer day. Trees whose roots go so deep down into the soil that when the rains come down, the soil stays in place. Trees are our friends. Guaradiva, she had a great job. Every day she worked with her mom. What did they do? The first thing they did in the morning, they would get up, they would hug each other. Oh, nice way to start the day. I am sure you will all agree. A great big hug is a good way to start the day. And Guaradiva started her job that way every morning. Once she had eaten breakfast with her, eat it for the day, perhaps some lunch, perhaps some things to sit upon, and they would climb up the mountain at the side of their village, and they would pass all the beautiful trees, and Guaradiva would smile when she saw them, and then they would go down the mountain to the other side, and when they were there, they would pick a village, and Guaradiva and her mother would keep a fire going all the time. So when the men came back with what they had got for dinner, they were, little kid, I want to play with my friends. So I said to my mother one day, Mother, why can't we take the wood from these trees? The one that go up our mountain? Why can't we take that wood? Then I wouldn't have to work all day. And her mother said, Guaradiva, you know very well we can't take the wood from these trees, though I don't. Why? Because these trees are our friends. They take care of us. The roots go deep down into the soil and protect us when it rains. And on a summer day to sit under those trees, Guaradiva, we can't ever hurt those trees. Now, Guaradiva understood, but I didn't like it. She wanted to play, and who could blame her? Now, one day, as Guaradiva and her mother were about to do their job, they were climbing up the mountain. It was a hot day. She really wanted to stay and play. She heard a noise on the other side of the village. She quickly turned. She saw men coming towards their village with axes in their hands, and she was scared. What are they doing in my village? What could I do? I'm just a little kid. And then she remembered. She remembered what she did every morning. She remembered what she did that morning, and she yelled to everyone in the village, quick, everybody, grab a tree and hug it. And they did. Every single person in the village grabbed a tree and put their arms around it and held on. When the men with their axes came by, they would never harm the children, and they kept on going. Now, the story goes that Guaradiva and her friends stayed with their arms wrapped around those trees the entire day. And the story goes that if you happen to be walking through that village to this very day, some 200 and some years later, the trees still remain, and the trees' children as well. Guaradiva, just a little girl like many of you, saved the trees by taking care of them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the truth, and that's the end.
For a glimpse of the farm history through his collection of those engines and old farm planting and harvesting tools.
And I guess one of the first things that was a hoe.
This year, Ferdinand Elementary, Pine Ridge and St. Anthony, Nancy Hanks and Holy Family stopped by to claim a lesson or two on how old equipment advanced hand plowers.
This is a tool here that I can show you this in the ground too, since there's not so many here, but I'll first show you in the air here. You know, this is the way you'd put it down in the ground, this here way. Okay.
Francis Lindar and his son Mike also tossed out some lessons on improved corn and mill grinders.
faster and the longer you turn that thing, the more cornmeal you'll get.
To improve can power.
The old farmers had one of these here. They were actually used to shell corn. Had one. These would shell a lot of corn if you would keep her going, you know. These were very popular corn shellers. Whenever they came out, why, whenever farmers got these, why, that was considered a pretty much of a necessity. Chicken manure, you know, because that was dry and you would put it in there, and it's just like today. Yet whenever you fertilize, you're going to get a better crop, you know.
And there were horse-driven sweeps to grind the corn as well.
And it's really the only one that we know that still survived. It was built by John and Henry Hollington. Two different sizes. This was considered the one you'd go to town with.
They discovered what saws were used to clear the land and build those early barns.
Squared off, you know, just on all four sides like that there, you know. I'm not going to do this whole log because you want to get back to school, I know that.
Students could ask questions as they went.
You saw it all in short pieces. And this was kind of what we had.
The gas engine ran the cutoff saw and sparked a bit of interest and a question. Blacksmith Tim McNeela spoke on creating those early farm tools as he crafted some art of his own that heated up a question or two. There was a Nova, a gas engine to grind that cornmeal, which fell into hands eager to see if ground cornmeal those early beginnings of the tractors and threshers.
Them balls, then you don't need no more power than what his throttle's got. But whenever he'd be on a thrash machine or a sawmill while we were grinding over there, those balls slow down, and at that time it pulls up a valve and opens up more steam. Like I say, unless you're on something that you need power, you can't demonstrate that very well. The governor.
There were lessons on the Avery, and of course, the course would not be complete without a lesson on the Ferdinand-built kitten.
Well, we'll let Henry drive up a little bit.
For WJTS, 27 minutes. This is Tony Frick.
born black. Now he'll be gray like his mother when he grows up. Born, they're always black.
This is Joanne, the mare, the mother, and the colt is Mole, and the daddy is Prince.
Blacksmith, you depended on him to fix your machinery. This is Tim McNeilis. He's keeping up this blacksmithing and does a good job at it. And he's going to show you a few things.
Blacksmithing is one of the oldest professions in the world. The Egyptians were making. They've been doing this for probably 4,000 years. Working with, as soon as it hit the Iron Age. What I'm trying to do here, most of the basics. In other words, you're thinning with it, you're twisting. Just leave it go for a second. And then you're punching steel, and you're flattening steel. This is doing everything except for the hammer forging. Now the hammer forging, it's very interesting where you join two pieces of metal together, but when you got a big crowd of people, it splatters, and for 15 feet around. So I'm not going to do any hammer forging. I've got a few of the that fits on the wall, hold your towels. Push plows. I don't know if you kids ever seen push plows?
No.
Okay. Gives you an idea what you can do with an old push plow that's junk. This here makes a really nice candlestick holder. This is a toilet paper dispenser. This here is what they claim that every man can change. In other words, the toilet paper just slips over the hook. So you got a toilet paper dispenser. This is a brass rose that opens up into a candlestick holder. This here, years ago, the blacksmith, we're talking medieval times, the wizard was a good luck charm. So they used a lot of wizard heads. So if you look at it, you can see, if you ever watch Lord of the Rings and stuff and remember the magician or the wizard, that's what, okay? Spike. This is his hat. Then the tip of the railroad spike is taken down, tapered off, and then that's welded onto there. Then this is just welded onto a 1/2 inch square stock, and it's twisted and flattened out to make a hook. So that's like I said, that's a good luck piece of medieval times. All your basics. You're thinning, you're bringing it down to the tip, you're twisting, you're flattening, and you're punching. So those are your basics in blacksmithing. If you can manage to do all those basics, you can make just about anything here at this table. This here is made out of, this piece here is made out of a 3-inch piece of 1/2 inch square stock. Okay, start off with a 3-inch piece. I split it 1.5 inches, okay? That makes these two pieces here. The other 1.5 inches is actually brought down, thinned down, curled up. In other words, I'll take this, I'll make the ring first, then I bend this around, and voila, you end up with a towel ring. So, there's all kinds of uses. Basically, most of the uses right now.
Tim McNeilis' blacksmith creation sparked a few questions from students as well.
What's up?
How did you make the different colors? Like that one's like...
Okay, this is copper and this is steel. This here, you cut the petals out and they call it a monkey tool. In other words, you stick out in an anvil and it's rounded. And then you take that piece of copper and then you hammer it down over the top of that rounded stock. And then you punch a hole in it, okay? Then you take another pedal and then you turn it about 1/4 a quarter rotation. Then you hammer that down, and then that slips over that nail. And then after you got 3 pieces like that, you take that nail and you can see I converted it into a rivet.
Students also learned how blacksmithing played a role in
And there's just in blacksmithing, whatever your mind tells you can do, you can pretty well do it. It's all imagination. One old blacksmith told me, he said, everything that can possibly be done has been done already. The only thing you can do is improve upon it, because these people have had 4,000 years to practice this. So, like I said, the blacksmithing, did most of you kids know that most of the major waltzes in Germany were composed by listening to a blacksmith? Blacksmith has got a different cadence that he hammers to. Bam, bam, usually hits once. Bam, 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 bing. Okay, you got 3 or 4 blacksmiths going, and a composer would listen to the different cadences, and they compose a lot of music by listening to the cadence of a blacksmith. $375,000 BTU. A normal house, the furnace is only about 80 to 100 to 100,000. So it puts out 3 times as much heat as a regular. Now, what we're using here is what we call coke. Coke is a refined coal. When it's burning like that, you can actually, if you leave it in there, you'll actually melt the piece of steel completely too. Going on. Okay, she's just about ready. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this in a vise, and I'll show you how.
Now that's hot.
Now, there's a lot of expressions. They're blacksmith's expressions. Like when you've heard a lot of people say, strike while the iron is hot. Well, the reason for that is you've got approximately 32 seconds.
I didn't think you could do that.
Make your bend. Eyeball down through there. And there's what you got. There you go.
Wow. That's sweet. That's
Okay.
cool.
For WJTS 27 Minutes, this is Tony Frigg.
I wish you could talk for 2 hours. I know you'd have a good audience, but you know how we're limited.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So,
give him a hand. He's ready.
she's there.
Okay, hold the phone, hold the phone. All right. Have you met Bill Simon and guys inside
For the weekend, we stopped by Celestine Community Club, where area volunteers
when you get done weighing, dyno it before, and we're going to dyno the top 3 tractors of that class.
This year's Celestine Community Tractor Pool boasted 200 hookups with some 18 classes of tractors competing. While there, we checked in on some of the competing drivers as the pools got underway. While the traditional mock turkey soup and chicken dinners were being served, we halted Ray Tucker to ask about his tractor.
Tell me something about your tractor. What class you're in?
In the 5500 antique class.
And your tractor is a?
Farm OEM.
And what's the advantage of this one? It's an antique, right?
It's an antique. We had a farm OEM and MTA on the farm back home in Kentucky, about 20 minutes east of Louisville. And just a lot of tradition on the farm, and just always like to stay with tradition in our pools too.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a pleasure so far.
Do a lot of tractor pulls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's the thing that makes it most interesting or most challenging?
Well, the most interesting part is going to pools and seeing the different countrysides, different states through Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio and different places. The challenge is just trying to be in the top 3 every time you go in.
All right, here goes Darren Hoffman on the 806 International. Got the front end all spread out on the old left. Oh, that's push-away on the tractor, okay. Come on, Bucko. Got the old weight right there. Then you gotta take that pull and turn it down. Turn her down.
We noticed Jason Lawyer's crew doing some final repairs, or weight adjustments.
On a WC, Alice Yelmers, 1937 model.
What kind of tractor you have here?
I have a 1953 Oliver row crop 66.
And what do you think the advantage of that is in a pool?
I can get in the lighter class. This tractor has quite a bit of horsepower for the weight, so hopefully that'll play to my advantage today.
Okay, and how long have you been coming here?
This is my first year coming here.
Okay, and you're hail from?
I'm from Orleans, Indiana.
All right, what brings you out to tractor pools each year?
Something that I've always been around. I farmed when I was younger. I worked on a farm and always had a desire to go and an interest. So I bought a tractor of my own and just kind of playing around, getting started at it. I'm kind of new at the actual pulling itself, but I've been going for years and years.
Okay, so this is your first year pulling too, or?
Yes, my own in the antique classes.
Okay. All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
While there, we discovered drivers who had traveled from far and from near.
That lady wants to talk.
Oh. Yeah, that's all right, but I talk to you while you're working. Yeah, I do. Looks like you're ready for getting ready for the tractor pull.
Yes, ma'am.
And what tractor do you have, and what kind, model, and why do you think it's going to be a good advantage for you today?
A Super M farm all. We just come to play, have a good time.
take care about winning?
Well, yes, but if we don't, it's no big deal.
All right, what brings you up here to Celestine?
Seen it in the farm week. They had in the farm week. They had. Thought we'd just come down and hook with some of the boys down here and see how we run.
And how many years you been pulling?
How many, Ron? 30? 30 off and on.
Got the front end up in the air. Oh, you let her down hard right there. Good job, Jane.
It's so great to do this. Just a competition?
Just a competition.
All right.
Whether we win, right, friends and neighbors. A lot of good friends here. I know some of the other fellows that's here from around. We've got to meet a lot of people.
Okay, and I'm speaking with?
Don Mott.
Okay, Don.
Celestine area volunteer firemen and friends kept the track
Right there. Good job, Sue. Only 77 hours.
event again this year.
Earl Jacob on a 40-20 John Deere.
Over by the weigh-ins, we found Willie Schneider of Birdseye chatting with his friends before his class headed for the track.
What's your tractor? What brings you out here pulling?
3000 Ford, and it's fun pulling. It's a good time. And you really don't tear nothing up on it. That's about all.
What class you in?
5000 pure farm.
Okay. What's the secret of a good pull?
Where you pick where you go out down the track, and if you got good tires, and if your tractor's good or not. A lot of whoever has the most power.
Okay, there's nothing in the driving?
Well, yeah, you got to go down there. You got to pick the right spot down the track. That has a lot to do with it, where it's hard.
How many years have you been doing this?
About 5.
Okay, so this is your 5th year?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Familiar faces such as John Ware, who has manned the weigh-in scales. Cherishing her winnings, little Elsie Hassanar.
Will, I don't think that's going to work.
Pull, huh?
16.
Did you? Did you come in first, second? First, all right. Was it hard pulling? Did you have fun? Okay.
One piece of equipment purchased with the money raised saves even just one life, it is well worth it.
Installed by Goodar Supply with 15 years experience. Call them today and just find out how comfortable your home can be. Brad Cadiz, rock fertilizer and seed. See Brad for rock hauling, fertilizer, and seed corn. Happy Hour Sports Bar and Grill.
Celestine Tractor Pool has been an annual event for 23 years now, and its success is due to the generosity of its community of volunteers, participants, patrons, and sponsors. It has come a long way from that first one-track events feature antique, pure farm, and national tractor pool competitors. There are Sunday meals, hundreds of gallons of soup, and field preparation after each individual pool, which calls for quite a community of volunteers. The 2004 tractor pool was their biggest pool yet. There were 4 antique classes, 500 and the 5500 and the 5800 two-wheel truck class. There are hot form tractors and 9300 super form tractors. And there were 3 classes of pure form tractors. Celestine's tractor pull calls for a full day plus of volunteer help from the crew of
Right there, 224.22. Hey, Ken.
So is there a secret, guys?
Alice Chalmers Tractors. That's the secret.
For WJTS 27 Minutes, this is Tony Frick.
Hey, look at that car.
Be the next man up on the antique side. All right, on the 10,000 hot farm, we got Ken Schroeder on a 1466 International. Goodars, after a long day out in the cold, rather you work on the farm or in the yard or on a construction site, your feet will thank you when you walk into your house that has been heated with radiant heat, installed by Goodars Supply with 15 years experience. Call them today and just find out how comfortable your home can be. Brad Cadiz, Rock Fertilizer and Seed. See Brad for rock hauling, fertilizer, and seed card. Happy Hour Sports Bar and Grill for the best time around. Go to the Happy Hour located in Phillips. All right, hey, come on now to Leopold and the Super M International.
Good. Ken Gregory on next down the number on WD-45 out Chandler.
5 liters motors. For GM cars and trucks. Also have GM Good Ranch Service, genuine GM.
Is that one place?
want both horses together.
Did you really buy it from his?
Almost here.
Yeah, okay, this here is a regular wagon which every farmer had 1, 2, or 3, and it was besides going to church with a buggy, why it was your way of going to town and grinding feed or hauling firewood or doing everything. Everybody had a farm wagon, you know, and I believe it was about every day we had horses hitched to it, you know. And what makes it special about this here wagon is that it's built in Ferdinand. You know, it's built in Ferdinand here by Hollandens, John Hollandens, and the place is not there anymore. The business place was right where Frank Hetty and Son is now. That's where the big building was, and they lived beside of it there. And his son was here this morning from Jasper, and I knew where this wagon was for about the last 15 years probably, but the fella passed away then, and then his wife said that, you know, they used to be over here and look at things. We don't sell it, you know, we sell it or nothing like that. So it's just a regular wagon. The only thing we didn't, it's got Ferdinand wagon on both sides, and we didn't do, but it was an important thing of, it wasn't 50, 60 years ago. I thought we'd do a little bit talk a little bit about wood here and building, and it was their only means of firewood for heat and cooking and all. When I was young, you know, I remember we had nothing except cooking. Mom, she cooked with it. That was a broad axe, I guess they called them, and these log houses that had, and barns that had these hewn logs in, you know, 8 inches big. This morning he did a poor job, but he's pretty well good at it now. Was you'd fell your trees with them, you'd cut your trees down with them, and whenever I was young, you know, there was nothing like a chainsaw or nothing. Unless you really get overworked when they're young, you know, then they like get authorized and stuff like that. Huh? Oh yeah, that's the problem. That's why I don't. I misunderstood. I thought you said the arthritis takes you overworked. No.
He's going to be the pitchman.
He's got this in his mouth. See, that makes it a little harder to eat, but you got to have it in there to control it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the stomach.
Yep. What are you eating? Are you eating corn? Okay.
Hey. Das Haus ist sauber.
Ja, ja. En het is de stangen, hol dat 10 samen.
Holst du das 10 samen? Sie versteht das auch nicht. Es ist so Englisch von Gott Honigbrot, ne?
Ja.
Bist du Honigbrot?
Wer zal die
Ja, ik heb geen antwoord, denk ik.
Goed was woord. Die doet dat al recorden.
Ja,
Kan sure? Ja. We zijn in trouble. Ja.
But you're shelling it off into the corn anyway.
Well, I know they kept their ears separate.
Oh.
So I said, you know, you'd only take the nice ears because you'd only need a little bit to plant. Yeah. So
did the wife do this part too?
Oh yeah, they did that a lot.
She says the kids did it.
Yeah, my aunt over here says the kids did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like this here. Like it's almost full, but then, yeah, chickens and hogs, you know, you can't feed them no cobs like down there. No. You know, that's a beef or any cow, you know, that eats the cow.
Could the cows eat that?
Hey, but an animal like a cow, you know, they need a certain amount of love. And it's just feeding them solid ground that time. And chickens, of course, and hogs, well, the cows.
Are you ever used to that little kid around them?
I don't know.
I've never seen that happen.
No, they usually don't.
Well, if one runs, that scares
Yeah, I
you.
know, but you know, I think it was like
actually like
Your wife was 30 days here and you were 50, so you would really put it on.
I heard it saying.
Get your exercise at the same time. Yeah, nowadays they pay to do that. I've seen a few around, but usually they got missing parts and different things. This is a butter churn here, and it's the tumbling kind of butter churn. You know, they had the kind that you'd then round ones where you'd stomp up and down, and the ones that you turn. But this here is a tumbling kind. You'd open it up, you know, and put your cream in here, and make it about half full, and then whenever you're done, while you'd open up the stopper and you'd drain off the buttermilk, you know, and then you'd have your butter, probably about a gallon or so, I would say. So that's that pattern. And then when they got modern and wanted to have some power turning it, they call this a dog power takeoff. And you could use a dog or a goat. And the bigger machines they put horses on, you know, and they call it's a thread mill. And this is the same butter churn like that there. The only thing it's powered by a dog here. Come lad, come lad, come lad. You show these people how to run this machine. Come on lad, come on lad, come on lad, come lad. You show, come lad, come on. Yeah, come lad, come on. Yeah lad, come lad, yeah. Come lad. Show them how to run this machine. Come on. Come lad, you show them how to run this machine. Come.
No.
Come. Somebody had this out. See, not everybody knows how to run this machine.
Did you see this?
He's just a regular farm dog here, but then...
Can I pet him or will he bite me?
No, he won't bite me.
Wait till after he works. They say he doesn't like to work if you pet him.
I've never seen him growl.
No, he wouldn't growl at nobody.
Oh, you're beautiful. We have a dog like this, only smaller.
Oh, yeah?
Serena. Yeah.
Well, this is Lap. His name is Lap here. And
he's a Labrador, so it's pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, I figured.
We thought a long time about that name.
He just part of the farm, and since he knows how to do this here, he just got the job of making our butter. And, okay.
Now let me see him do it. Come on, make it.
He's had a long morning.
Golly, this is the third time I've done this.
Fourth.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lab. Sorry about that. How old is he?
Probably more than dogs. Right there.
I don't know, it's called a dog fed milk.
Say what? They're not really working.
Probably 95% of Trent milk for use with horses still.
Really?
Oh yeah, horses.
With horses? How would you get them on there?
Well, they're a lot bigger. I mean, bigger. The principle would be. You got a little bit of. Well, here, yeah, I don't really see. So you both got this girl.
Well, I know your sister. That's all I can say.
Well, true, that was the name of it. Urban Founder in the case. That was the name of it.
Oh, I should have seen that.
Yeah, I can just remember it when they were your coal car right here, and whenever he'd step on that, you know, why, every time when you come with a with a shovel full of coal, which was right here, you know, why it'd open up the door. On a steam engine, you don't want to let the door open more than you have to, because it'll draw too much cold air in there, you know. So this is the only company that we know of that build an engine kind of like a steam locomotive, you know. And then of course we added a lot of things to it that'll make it look more like a train. It's a two-cylinder engine, like other. It's got a catwalk on there. We got a steam generator on. It's got lights. That's good. And electricity right now. That stuff all comes out. It's got a train whistle on it. Comes from Belgium. There's a fellow from Cincinnati that.
Auf die andere Seite der Mädchen die Haare dann ist es
Locomotive steam whistle in Belgium. And they were in a trade together, and I got one. Now this is the littlest, build a 30 and a 40. This is the littlest one they built. For Mr. Kitten, he built a short stubby boiler for our hills here in DuBois County, you know, so your water level stays more even. The longer you are, you know, like trains, they never were on a big incline. You know, they're all pretty well level. There's a lot more for flying. Of course, it's got a big pool. No, that's a port number. Oh, that's really, yeah, they have a port number on there. Oh, okay. And that bulldog on the front there, that's Avery's logo. Later on, they built that 13 batteries, but still that bulldog on the front. You know, a lot of them companies had something that was there, you know, the bulldog. Well, but other people bring it in. Yeah. I do like 50 or 60 more. No, they don't. That's Paul. Yeah. Paul, he took off of work because he just loves to do this. And Henry's guitar. Yeah, we milk. I really live a quarter of a mile from here, but I had 3 younger sisters. That 3 younger sisters were home yet, you know, and when we got married, she got a acre from her uncle. Yeah, Janice Holstein. She helps us milk every day.
And who's that up there?
Durham.
And then Mike is back here.
Who's?
Mike?
Mike is on top of the hill, right up, right on top in the back of that building.
Oh, okay.
How big is your farm?
Well, we only own 350 acres, you know, but then we rent about that much too.
I just wonder how many meters is one, square meters is 1 acre?
I know.
Ask Sister Jean Marie. She can help you figure it out. Just keep in mind, like, he's got 350 acres that he owns, and it sounds like about 700 acres that you actually farm.
Yeah.
And she can give you an idea of how much that is.
Little treat from Holland Dairy.
Everybody likes chocolate.
Oh, all right. Here. Here, you want a
That's good, guys. I don't think my children have ever been out here. I
Don't show you, though.
like this. You want me a nice filter.
You got milk?
Did all the girls get ice cream?
Well, just so nobody falls short.
I'm going to show you different methods of planting corn. First of all, of course, you had, you know, they just have a hoe and they'd take a kernel of corn and they'd you know, that this is the way we did too. And they planted.
From cultivating the soil to sowing and planting to threshing and on to harvesting the crops, farming has come a long way from the hand tools of the past.
Okay, and as time went along, the fertilizer helped growing things.
Annually, Ferdinand farmer Francis Lindar and his many helpers take off a day from regular jobs or farming in early April to show students from Ferdinand, Pine Ridge, St. Anthony, and Heritage Hills elementary schools just how man's inventive spirit has changed from days of early America.
They always had the kids to do this.
Yeah.
Each year,
The high class, this went faster. Yeah.
often man made use of his farm animals to lessen the workload, and although the new dog Sparky has not learned how to churn butter, he does know how to turn a harder.
Feed to town and gather your corn and just about used for everything because you know most farmers had two of them and then in a lot of times in the summertime you'd take this here bed off and put a hay frame on to gather hay and a thrashing time for bundles and this here wagon, the reason we're especially interested in it, it was one built in Ferdinand. Jim had Ferdinand wagon was on there, and it was built by John and Henry Holliton. They had a blacksmith shop at the same place where our blacksmith shop is today, where Hetty's blacksmith shop is. And it's the only one that we know of that still is around. There might be more, you know, that
carried over by our forefathers and improved, or designs added to them.
I mean, you'd get it all. And these were rakes where you rake things together, you know. And I guess part of the reason, you know, that interests me is these people had to make everything themselves, you know. So the workmanship, you know, we'd even consider this kind of a task nowadays, but this is all handmade. Well, I guess first of all we ought to saw the trees down. So we'll have John and Paul or somebody to demonstrate down there on that other one. That'll stay laying better. Okay, that was the way we cut down trees and made firewood and all. And okay,
Eventually, the hand tools were replaced by power tools and inventions that ran on gas.
That'll do it. We got a bunch of ways to go yet. This is Henry here. What you make steam with, of course, is heating wood or coal, and you're heating the water, and you make steam. That's what you're doing right there. And this is a kitchen steam engine. It was built at Ferdinand here, where the senior citizen center is. And those people built 224 engines from 1880 till 1940. And they built a sawmill, and it'll like I said, all the power comes from out of this here little piston here, and the steam comes on one.
including the Rumley Oil pool tractor.
This is a one-cylinder. It's the biggest one that Rumley made in a one-cylinder. Now they made one that was another time as big in a two-cylinder. The only way you can start them is how he's going to start them now. There, you've got to. You want to be sure that you have your foot out of there when it does.
After students head back to school for lunch, Francis and his family of helpers
either, but whenever I'm down here feeding the calves and stuff like that there, I'm kind of glad I'm able to do it.
For WJTS 27 Minutes, this is Tony Frick.
In America, like on wagon trains, they would unload all their furniture and stuff and go through the passes and stuff, and they never ever got rid of the blacksmith stuff because he did all the repairs. He fixed all the chains, he fixed wagon wheels and stuff. Everything was done by a blacksmith. There's so many different things that are done by blacksmiths.
Around 1890, farms, plantations, which turned out building, housekeeping, new plowshares, and other tilling implements, and kept up with endless repair needs.
Couldn't just go to town and buy stuff off the shelf. You could go to the blacksmith and say, hey, this is what I need. And then he'd say, okay, it's got to be this long and this wide.
It's no wonder that students from Ferdinand, Pine Ridge, St. Anthony, and Heritage Hills Elementary Schools visiting the Francis Lindar Farm Tour, a history of farm equipment, also enjoyed discovering the craftsmanship of the blacksmith.
First measuring spoon that they had years ago, and it was made out of a horse manure.
Pioneers would use them for storing their flour, cornmeal and stuff.
And the neighboring display of work by the tinner.
So they'd be listening and have four different blacksmiths. And these composers would be sitting in their room and they'd be hearing like four different blacksmiths, each one of them with a different cadence. And a lot of your old waltzes and stuff were composed by listening to blacksmiths.
Blacksmiths existed during the European Middle Ages and could be found making pots, pans, and candlestick holders and armor. An 8-year-old might be apprenticed to a local blacksmith family and after 12 years of learning the craft be judged by the master.
The wizards were supposed to bring good luck, so they used a lot of the wizards as decorations. Can you see his face? Looks like Gandor, doesn't he? So that's, this here was the railroad spike, and I chiseled all that out when it was red hot. So, like I said, a lot of it is just like this here, candlestick holders, brass, and steel combination.
And he's a tinner and jack of all trades. In fact, he built the back part of that steam engine there, which is hard to do, you know, that round part, there isn't a square part on it.
No.
And he made go over here and tell you some of the things about the tinner spin.
Tin's one of the early metals they've used. The Romans used it more on their armor. Made a real, if you polish it, it's real shiny, really reflect. They even used to make mirrors out of them years ago.
Tinners like blacksmiths made use of anvil.
Gourd would break, tear up, and then they developed pottery. But a lot of this stuff doesn't move down the road very good. If you put that in the back of the wagon and sit there and jar and everything will crack and break. So basically the English and the Germans developed a way of making different tinwares. The blacksmith he just came from, he made me a handle, Dave, years ago. You trade work back and forth. He might make the handles, I would make the ladle part, and then we'd put it together and then we'd sell it. He would do the heavy work, I would do the lighter sheet metal work.
Miners used to travel about on foot, mule or horse, carrying their tools in a backpack, and later in their wagons repairing pots and pans and making other metal essentials.
Tinwares, and this is some different things. Here's something the pioneers would use. That's what they kept their fire making kit in, their flint and steel, some paper and some things that get a fire started good. But that would sit there and they could put that in their backpack and it could get bounced around, and they always had it together and stay dry, and they didn't have to worry about it.
Close look at the tools of the blacksmith and tinner, but also picked up a lesson on the development of American industrial age from tinsmith Dennis Hooch.
The Europeans never did use any of these type of tools. They had gills, tinner's gills over there, and basically what you did when you was a certain age, you would contract yourself to work for a tinsmith, and he'd teach you the trade. And if you had these tools, you really didn't have to have the skill to do the job. So the Europeans would never. These were all made in the United States. They was developed, I think about 1806, I think, when the first patents just came out. And by the 1820s, they was about all the tin shops. These different type of tinning tools. There's crimpers, rollers, burring machines. But anyway, it made the job faster. But if you took these over in Europe, they'd probably burn the shop down, because they did not.
In between sessions, we spoke with tinner Dennis Hooch about making poor man's dinnerware.
The poor man's silver, I mean, back during the Victorian era, everybody had silver plates and their tin pot, or their silver pots, and all that was elegant. This here, you could rub it, it's just as shiny as silver. And hard. Anyway, polish that up, it'll just glow just as same as a silver pot or anything else. But it was a chance for the people to have something nice and useful, and it would last several years. Your tinware, and then like I was telling the kids, it's very transportable. You can throw it in the back of a wagon. You don't have to worry about it. You might get a few dents or something in it, but as far as like pottery or anything, it doesn't break. It doesn't deteriorate like wood would. It was just a good durable metal that they developed and used.
Yeah, if you want to move it away. They want to walk up there, I'll move it forward.
Time this thing's done.
This is the way they would have done it in Europe.
This is the way they had done it over in Europe, England, all that area.
For WJTS 27 Minutes, this is Tony Frick.
Too tall over there. They wanted you to do it all by hand.